Today I'm testing the Osmo Action 3 just to see how it works as a pure vlogging camera. When you're vlogging, conditions change very quickly, so you need something that can change the white balance fast, you need something that's hopefully always in focus, you need something with good stabilisation and hopefully with good audio as well without a microphone. At the moment I'm using this thing without a microphone. This is the sound of the internal mic. So I've got auto white balance, got auto shutter, and I'm using 4K 60 frames a second. This is the standard field of view with de-warp, so this is called standard. When you're in auto mode you only get ultra wide and standard, but if you go into the pro mode you get more. This, which is ultra wide, so you can see it's a very wide angle of view. Just as a reference shot, this is me just walking with no stabilisation, holding the camera in front of my face. Rocksteady's now going, and there you are. It's a little bit more stable. One thing about this stability is you do need to have a faster shutter speed if you want to have the stability working, which goes against camera 180 degree rules, shutter rules and all that, but this is how it looks when you've got a fast shutter speed, and I'm using Rocksteady. Now there is another mode that stops this happening. As you can see, the picture's leaning. If I do the same thing with Horizon Steady, it won't do this. Now the horizon is level and it won't move. I'm now going to move the camera left and right and you can't see a thing, so it should be still. Horizon Steady is a fantastic thing if you're running around and you want to keep the horizon steady. For this shot I'm just holding the camera at 45 degrees, but you can see it as straight, and that's how good Rocksteady is. It's a very useful thing. Now I'm going to test out the close focus. So I've got it at arm's length, so that's about 3 feet away, coming in, and I'm now at about 2 feet. Hopefully it's still in focus because they do quote 1 foot as the close focus. I'm now at 1 foot. That's a nice head and shoulders shot, but I don't think the Action 3 is going to be in focus, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think probably the GoPro would focus at this distance, but not the Action. When you've got Horizon Steady enabled, you've only got really one field of view, but the nice thing is you can do nice pan shots like this and keep that horizon steady. Once you take the Horizon Steady off, you can use the ultra wide field of view, but then you haven't got the Horizon Steady. See? Another thing about using the auto mode on this camera is you can't access the colour. You've just got the ordinary Action 3 colour and not the desaturated one, so you can't use that. But if you want to go out there and just vlog and get the quick picture, a lot of people don't want to edit and play around with the picture later anyway. One little tip though is if it's very contrasty like it is today, I've got the sun up there blaring into my face, and you want lower contrast, then there's nothing to stop you. Just press the button Pro, and on Pro that will allow you to work in auto as well as use de-cinning. One little tip though is if it's very contrasty like it is today, I've got the sun up there blaring into my face. The other thing about using the Pro mode is of course you can then change the shutter speed, and you can use 180 degree shutter and all that sort of thing to get good motion. The only problem with that is because it's a fixed lens, you're going to have to use an ND filter, and at the moment there's no fitting on the camera unless that front comes off and you can screw something on, or use a case. So it would be handy to have something to put on the front to allow us to use filters as we could with the old Action. Just screw the filters on. All you had to do with the old Action was to take the front off the lens and then screw on the filters, which was really easy. Be nice if that happens with this one. So although I'm using 4K 60, did it overheat while I used it? No, not at all. It would probably overheat if you left it on for a long time, I don't know, but in normal conditions just filming, I haven't noticed any heat whatsoever because most of the shots I'm taking are just quick shots as you would do if you were vlogging. So I think as a vlogging camera this is probably pretty good. So to finish, my thoughts on the Action 3 in automatic just for vlogging is a little bit, I'm a bit mixed about it. First of all, it's fast to use. The menu system is fantastic. It's a dead easy camera to use. It actually has got good audio, I think, as well, especially via external microphones. It's very good. The problems I've had with it is the stabilisation just doesn't work unless that shutter speed is up, and you're not always aware of where that shutter speed actually is when you're on auto. So therefore, if you do something where you're like I did, I was running, I had no idea that I'd get that flick in the film, in the video, because basically it's not easy to see on the tiny little screen anyway. The other thing I found is, just like the original Action, the Action 2 as well, when you get close, it always seems to me as though the background is more in focus than the face. You're probably seeing that now, which is why I'm still using it. The trees in the background are probably more in focus than my face, and I'm still 3 feet or so away from the camera itself. So that's another issue. The heating thing that people talk about often with these cameras, I didn't get, because it's not particularly warm today, and I don't use them for long periods of time, and it doesn't affect you when you're vlogging. I think probably the GoPro is sharper than this as far as the lens goes. But the other thing I found is that many shots when you're in auto and in ordinary standard colour, they're very contrasty. They're very, very, very contrasty indeed, and they need the contrast taken down. You don't lose detail by having that contrast set there, or not that much. There's a bit of detail loss at the top, but there is detail in the lower end that you can't see very often, and if you just lower the contrast, the detail just appears in the picture. So it is there, but I found the picture straight from the camera to be very contrasty, and I think that could be a bit less. If you use the de-cine, it doesn't actually do that much to the contrast, but what it does, it just desaturates the picture, takes the colour down, but I'm not sure it does much for the contrast. In all honesty, it just looks washed out, and all you end up doing is boosting the colour again and taking the contrast down. So it's a good camera, but I think for vlogging, possibly, I think the GoPro probably has the edge, as long as this new one isn't playing around and freezing and doing all sorts of weird things that my 9 used to do. I never upgraded. Once I had the 9, I never upgraded again. I just went straight over to the Actions. Hope you enjoyed it and it was useful to you. Cheers for now.